40% of kids saying they hate school. We have to find a way in education to bring those kids to school. We got to figure out a way to make them enjoy it, at least just for a little bit.
What we're trying to do is teach kids how to learn.
Some kids have never had success in school. You put them in front of a video game, they find success. Now I have a voice. Now people are listening to me.
I think people think we're teaching video games.
Right.
And that is absolutely not what we're doing.
You can bring this into a building with your teachers, and it's innovative to where the students are going to be a part of something that is just bigger than them.
Through gaming concepts, I really feel like I have even a stronger connection with students than I've had in the past 10 years of teaching.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Gaming Concepts Podcast, brought to you by Teachers for Teachers. I am joined by my awesome co-host, Dr. Kristen Craft, and Mr. Trevor Goertzen. Amazing people right here. Appreciate you all coming to the podcast. We also, behind the stage, have Alex, and we're going to call him the Hitman Herbie. So He is our master of ceremonies behind the stage. He's taking care of all the recording, all the sound checks, making sure that we are doing what we're supposed to be doing, keep us on track. He's the time manager and all that good stuff. So we're so excited to have him with us. He has joined us this week, and we are so happy to have him. So he's already been putting in a lot of work. So how was everyone's week? It's been a little bit since we chatted. Dr. Craft?
It has.
I've had a really great week. Just excited that it's Friday. It is date night tonight for me, so excited about that. I always look forward to a nice dinner and some little happy hour with my hubby at the end of a week. So yeah, looking forward to it. But it's just been lots of getting caught up, and it's been a good week here at Generation Esports.
Perfect. Love it. Mr.
I know. So my favorite thing about my job is actually coming to the office. So I am very lucky that I live close to the Generation Esports headquarters. So I'm able to come spend time here each and every week and get to see all the hard work that this team is putting into. Our curriculum's getting operational, as well as our gaming platforms, and so it's encouraging to see, and it's fun to be a part of the camaraderie of the team here. And it's very much like a team anywhere else. We got a lot of hardworking people who want to do good things for kids.
That's awesome. Well, I was on vacation for the latter part for last week, and
That's right.
This week, I got to go visit my favorite person, Mickey Mouse.
That's your favorite person?
Well, actually, I did get an amazing picture with Darth Vader, and I have been to Disney several times and never seen Darth Vader in there. So got my picture with him and got the Force thing and all that. So I was super excited about that.
Gosh, he's really old by now.
Yeah, he's super old, but moves around surprisingly well.
What was that? What was that?
1977.
You seem like you had an extra glow about you this week, Mike.
Yeah.
Is that why?
It's the Mickey Mouse glow. It's the Disney.
It is.
The Disney glow. Straight up Disney glow.
The thing about Disney is I always say there's no tired like Disney tired. I mean, it's a vacation, but it's a lot of work.
No. That is a trip.
Yeah.
A vacation is where you lay on the beach and have somebody bring you cocktails. A trip is when you go to Disney. It's a family trip.
100%.
Then you need a vacation after the trip.
Yeah, that's what my wife said. She's like, I'm so tired and I have to go to work tomorrow when we got back. And I was like, yes, I have to go to work also. So I totally get it. But that is a great analogy. And I never thought of it like that. But yes, I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work to come back.
It's like if you go to Europe, that's a trip.
It's true.
DC, that's a trip.
We averaged about 25,000 steps a day.
Of course you did.
That's a lot. That's a lot more than what I typically do in a day. So.
What's your favorite ride there? I think you told us one time, but
favorite ride overall is definitely Rise of the Resistance. It's an amazing.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
It's amazing, but I have my each park kind of have my favorite. Soarin' is my favorite at Epcot, and Avatar's at Animal Kingdom, and then I go between Peter Pan and Haunted Mansion at Magic Kingdom. So
yeah. Well, I prefer Drink Around the World at Epcot Center. I don't know what that says about me, but I kind of avoid Disney at all costs. So
it was the food festival at Epcot while we were there. Food Wine Festival, so you could go around and get all the tasty bites. Oh yeah,
yeah.
So Yep.
I
Sign
feel like I'm
me
missing
up.
something here, guys, because I have not been to Disney since I was 12, and my kids are anxious to go.
You need to take them.
They keep wondering why we haven't gone, so we'll see. We'll see if
When
we
you're
get
ready,
there.
tell me, Trevor. I will help you.
Michael
I'm
hook
a
you up.
Disney pro. I know how to
Okay.
do it all. So
It's good to know.
okay, enough about Mike's vacation.
Yeah.
Sorry, we just kind of hijacked it right there. So
No, I like it.
any great things this week? Like any good conversations with students, teachers, fun stuff happen?
I'm excited about a new study that came out about
Oh.
the students that play or the kids that play video games have higher cognitive abilities. They can learn to read faster. I thought that was a fantastic study that just came out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of where it was. But yeah, I like when we keep seeing that research that really points to what's good. And, it was interesting because somebody had posted on Twitter, that, after even this research was there, they're like, it just leads to people being, sedentary and, overweight, and they, don't do anything with their life. And the best response I saw back was, yeah, the same thing can happen when you're watching football all day and drinking and eating. It's not about what it is that it's about the person and how they want to, step up. And so I thought that was such a great response when we still get, so much pushback around it. And so I really love research, and I'm just kind of a nerd that way. So I really like reading about it. And that was a great study.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's amazing to see that stuff. I'm excited to see more of that. And I've seen some studies even around heart rate and things, how your heart rate is very elevated when you're gaming, depending on the game. And you actually might burn just as many calories by just being involved in a high intensity game as you would. I think people associate I'm outside sweating as burning calories. And I think there's a different, there's different ways of looking at that, but there's more research into that. But I'm excited. I've seen a lot of studies going on about that as well, so I'm excited to see that. So,
and knowing what I know, I'd almost rather my kid, and that's kind of what it talked about too, is to be involved in purposeful play versus sitting and just staring at something.
Mm-hmm.
You're using your brain when you're doing purposeful play, and when you're just sitting and, I mean, not that I don't love a good football and basketball game, I do, but I'm not using my brain.
No.
And so so even the study even said it was students that played for 3 or more hours a day.
Oh boy, that's really going to get people fired up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, research, man. And when you know better, you do better. So
that was probably the best part of my trip, was that I was not on my phone. Like, I basically put all my electronics away, other than just to book rides and things. But I was not watching any social media or anything, and that was like such a de-stressor off my life. Just
good for you.
And it was like, I felt so good. So maybe that's where the glow came from, Trevor. So
yeah.
So,
well, there's a book. I got to share this real quick because it totally relates to what you guys are just talking about here. But a book I'm reading by the editor of Entrepreneur Magazine. But he was doing research on just how technology has changed the course of just habits and behaviors, but yet there's always pushback to technology. There's a panic associated with it. And he was going back and found research done by doctors in the 1940s that was advising against kids listening to the radio, because they're going to be addicted to the radio, and it's going to cause them to not be engaged in other social aspects.
Right.
And so there's publications about the dangers of the radio. There's even going back further, articles written by John Philip Sousa, the famous conductor, basically telling mothers, do not listen to broadcasts or to the photograph of recorded music, because it is mechanical and it's not authentic. You should only listen to live music.
Oh my God.
If you listen to the recorded music from a phonograph, it's going to damage your child's ability to make music in the future, because they won't know what real music looks like or sounds like. And so it just kind of brings to mind the fact that, like, there's anytime something new comes out, there's always going to be some pushback. There's always going to be something that says, don't do this. He's even talking about erasers. People were upset about erasers on pencils because it wouldn't allow kids to be perfect in what they're writing, or give them a way to correct their mistakes.
Way out.
Yes, versus figuring it out the first time. So It
You
just,
know,
again, it kind of helps that evolving mindset
yeah,
of things you're
yeah.
looking at and technologies you're looking at.
You know, I'm a Gen Xer. I was a latchkey kid and I was an only child. I had the TV guide and my mapped out day all summer of every show that I would watch. I could still tell you what I watched. 11 o'clock was Young and the Restless. Noon was Days of Our Lives. Just, I knew what nights different shows were on. I consumed so much TV. I mean, and I don't know, maybe that's what is wrong with me today.
How far do you want to carry this analogy here, Kristen? I don't know.
Hey, I watched some Days of Our Lives in the day because we had 3 channels. So I'm just telling
Yeah,
you.
you did.
I watched it and I am not ashamed of it. So.
And HBO was exciting when you got that.
Heck yeah. I mean,
you had to press the little B button. 2B was HBO.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, hey, let's move on.
Yeah, let's get to our guests.
They're
sitting in the waiting room.
They're patiently waiting, and so I have a couple clues that you will never guess who this person is, but we're going to give it a whirl. So the first clue: this person placed in the top 10 in an HSEL competition for CS:GO.
Got nothing.
CS:GO HSEL competition.
Can I look at old records on Slack? Slack.
I don't think you can on Slack. I don't think we had Slack. I don't think that Slack was around back in the day. So
okay.
All right. This person went to school to be an EMT.
Oh.
Huh.
And they played video games.
I know. Weird, huh?
Okay,
All right. Okay. And then they love the color blue.
That does it all.
Now you know who it is, right?
Now I know.
That's it. I see that the area code is 920, so I looked that up, and that's Wisconsin. So it could be that they one time lived in Wisconsin or Green Bay area.
Let's get ready to bring this person in.
Come on.
You're very close to this person. It's Beau Hughes, right in the office.
It's Beau.
It's HSEL Beau right there.
I didn't know he was top 10 in CS:GO. Way to go, Beau.
Well, only technically. That's when we had forfeits back then.
It was a technical. Now the truth comes out.
Yeah.
You can't reveal that part. You got to roll with it.
You just got to roll with it.
Beau, when our team was really good, we had forfeits. That's the only way we made it like top 4, top 2 every time.
No one else needs to know. No one needs to know.
You sneaky little devil.
So I thought Beau would be great, and I know we tend to focus on the curriculum side and engaging, with the teachers and everything. But Beau is amazing because I've known Beau for 6 years now. Probably did not know that Beau was 16 years old in his classroom, helping me navigate the HSEL website and sign my team up. So Beau has an amazing story about how he got to this point, and I think it would be great for him to share a little bit about that and what gaming has done for him and where he's at now and what he thinks will happen in the future. So
I love that.
Round up some questions and fire away. So
see, Beau's one of the guys that I've wanted to know more about as long as I've been with this company, because of there's like this kind of myth of like he's the kid in high school that was working full-time, not full-time, but like while you're in school you're still working, and then here you are. It's like that. I don't know how to describe it. It's the whole, you don't know what job you're going to be, we're preparing our kids for because they don't even know that it exists. I can't imagine, Beau, you thought in high school that at some point you were going to be running esports tournaments, and now you're running esports tournaments. Like that, almost kind of an American dream in a way, but like finding a way to follow your passion. So I'm excited for this because I want to know the story. I want to know the background, where you got to where you are.
Yeah, I had no idea I was going to be playing this in high school. Actually, it all kind of started for me back in junior year for me. Near the end of the year, my friends came to me and told me they found a really cool website, the High School Esports League. There was like CS:GO, Overwatch, all these different games they all played. I was really into CS:GO at the time. No one wanted to be the team captain, so they asked me, and I actually said no initially. I believe I said no 2 different times, and then finally they kept asking me, and I said yes. I kind of kicked myself for saying no all those times because this whole
Yeah.
everywhere I'm at now would have been completely different. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I finally said yes. Joined the Discord. I think I was one of the first 100 people in there.
Ah,
Um, and immediately just started, getting to the community, talking with people, helping people. They didn't have any support people. It was it was pretty much the 3 founders and a couple volunteers. So I just helped people out.
Wow.
and so where did
So
you grow up? I'm curious. Like what?
Yeah, I grew up in Kiel, Wisconsin.
Okay, so it was Wisconsin. Okay, very
Yep, yep.
cool. All right.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
what was the gaming culture for you growing up in rural Wisconsin?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very rural. It was like 2,000 people maybe
So what
in
was
this
kind of the
town.
gaming culture that you had enough kids in your school that wanted to get involved in this? Like, what did it look like in that rural community?
Yeah, so we really didn't even have that many kids that wanted to be involved. I feel like there was still kind of that stigma of you don't really talk about playing games that much unless you're with your kind of core group of friends. It wasn't as extreme back then, but um, yeah, we it was really just my group of friends that
Yeah.
started the club, and then we got onto like the PA announcements to everyone, letting them know about the club, and then everyone talked about wanting to join. But of course, I think only like 1 or 2 other people ended up joining. But yeah, I mean, it was very much just a group of friends, and then we got a few other people that we'd never met or really hung out with before. That we created friendships through that.
I love it.
So were like your parents supportive of your gameplay? Was that, I mean, were they like, this is dumb, you're wasting your time? And what did they think about like you being at school and like working?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to my dad about this a lot. He always didn't think I played too many video games. It's never gonna lead anywhere. You're not gonna make money off of it. And tried to exactly now, but tried to lead me into different paths. I always had to have one sport that I was playing. But always tried to lead me into a different path, which I mean, well intentioned, but after I started doing this more and more, and he saw what I was doing, probably my senior year, near the end of it, he realized that this has a lot of potential. So he started
Mm.
being very supportive of it. He was never against it. It was just, what's going on at actual school, not what's going on with your volunteering. Um, yeah.
So what is your current like title right now? And what are the skill sets you believe, that you learned uh as a gamer, an esport athlete, to get to where you are? I mean, I know you worked here, but again, we just talked about that, that research study, and there's just such a difference between purposeful play and all those things. So what do you think are some of the biggest skill sets that people don't realize that gamers really need, and even in your own position?
Yeah, so my current title is Director of Tournament Operations. So I run and manage all the different tournaments and the team that manages said tournaments. Um, so yeah, I mean the skills I kind of learned through gaming. I mean, so many. I'm very much like a visual learner, so learning through video games was huge for me. I learned leadership through being kind of the what's known in esports like an IGL or in-game leader in games like CS:GO. I learned even really typing and communicating people through other games that are like MMOs. I've learned so many skills, even social interaction through gaming, just because how do you deal with the toxic person that's on your team and get them to stop being toxic and just play the game, which is extremely hard and sometimes impossible. But really, the leadership skills and communication skills learned through gaming. And then I mean, really for this position and working with these different communities, that's the biggest thing is that you just need to be able to take the, I guess, initiative and stand up and make sure that everyone's listening to you, and make sure that you're communicating, throughout the company.
So you had mentioned, Beau, that kind of started with your friends wanting you to be the team captain for CS:GO.
Mhm.
Do you feel like that was kind of a pivotal piece, and you kind of referenced that as far as pushing you to a leadership capacity maybe you didn't realize you had by being a leader on that? Like, can you talk to what about that aspect of it helped you realize the potential you have?
Yeah, so I didn't really think about it at the time, but now looking back, the team captain for CS:GO, like I was the one constantly setting up the matches, communicating with the other teams, making sure that everyone on my team would actually show up, which was actually quite difficult. But setting up practice times for us to really just play games together. Because in my mind, as much as I would like to think we're really good at the game, I knew we weren't going to be out there to go and win a championship. Obviously, I wanted that, but it was really, I wanted to bring the team together and play games together and really kind of grow that relationship. Because even if weren't gonna win, I would make sure that everyone had fun while playing.
That's awesome. So do you continue to see I mean, in your years at HSEL, have you continued to see other kids have that same experience where they were maybe not realizing the potential they had, and they kind of grew through and because of the competitive play part?
Yeah, I mean, some people here that currently work here that were also kind of volunteers back in the day, around the same time as me, watching them grow. I think that they wanted to be a leader, and I've seen them kind of grow inside this company even as leaders, from running their esports team, or one of them played on my actual team, and helped me set up practices and stuff like that. So I've definitely seen students grow through playing inside of tournaments, just because it's much more than, you're not just queuing up and playing a match. You have to communicate with another team. You have to arrange. You have to do a map ban, which doesn't sound like it's a big deal, but when your whole team is arguing with each other, talking about something else, you have to get them all together and say, what map are we banning? Just stop for 1 second. Everyone clear comms.
Which is not too dissimilar from what you probably do each and every day as you wrangle people together.
Yes, that is my day to day. Is wrangling everyone together.
Oh, that's good.
I want to go back. So something we try to do in the podcast, Beau, is some of us speak gamer speak, and some of us don't, and some of us we have an audience out here that we're trying to get acquainted with esports and get them exposed to all these different terms. So MMO, people may not know what an MMO is. So if you want to just give an example and just give us what MMO stands for, that would be great.
Yeah, so MMO is massively, oh man, now I'm massively multiplayer
Online.
now online. It seems weird because game should be afterwards, but it's not in the abbreviation or whatever. Yeah, so massively multiplayer online game, or sometimes combined with MMO RPG, which is just the two acronyms together. But yeah,
RPG is role playing game.
RPG, right? Yep, role playing game. Yep.
So World of Warcraft would be an example of that. Yeah.
Is League of Legends considered a role play game?
I wouldn't say so. Some people might see it as that, but it's a MOBA, which is a multiplayer online battle arena. Which is like, typically you'll see like 3 lanes or 2 lanes or something like that.
Yep.
Oh, that's why there's like mid lane and all of that.
Yep.
Correct. Yep. Absolutely correct. Yep.
I learned something new.
Yep. So you have.
See, I feel like I just need someone. Maybe that needs to be part of our podcast sometime. Mike and Beau, like, explain how Game X works. Like, we just focus on League of Legends. We just focus on Valorant. Like, because I can last like 5 minutes in those games, and then I'm dizzy, and I'm like, I don't even know what's happening anymore. So
maybe we'll do a gaming concepts after hours in air quotes, and we'll do a gameplay where we'll stream our gameplay and we'll just learn together.
See, I legitimately could use that, because then I know what I'm talking about better. Because here in the office, I hear people talk about games like, I got nothing, man. Like, let me get back to Tony Hawk, maybe a little bit of GoldenEye on the Nintendo 64. Now you're speaking my language. So
Hey, Beau, what is your current game? Like, what are you really into right now?
Well, Call of Duty just dropped last night, so
Oh,
probably going to be playing a lot of that.
that's right.
But other than that, RuneScape, which is an MMORPG.
Okay.
That's kind of the game I've been playing since I think I was 5. So I've been playing that game
Oh,
for a very long time.
so what is Call of Duty? So again, I'm not a gamer. I think I know what Call of Duty is, but I'm not sure that I really know what Call of Duty is. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Call of Duty is an FPS, which is a first-person shooter. Some people see it as a casual FPS, others see it as competitive. I would say 90%, maybe a little bit less, are casual gamers whenever it comes to Call of Duty. I mean, that's just kind of how the game got big. Competitive is still huge in the game, though. I mean, 10% of uh, 50 plus million players is still a lot of people that are playing the game competitively.
So I know you said first person shooter. And, again, I think, Mike, when you were teaching it, you said, to use the phrase first person elimination. And so I just kind of want to dive into this little conversation a little bit, based on the fact that we are seeing esports more in schools. And there is a concern around violence and first person elimination and things like that. So, Beau, just kind of in your perspective, from somebody who's young, from somebody who had it in schools, has been playing it for quite some time, what would you say to people in schools, or in the industry, that are maybe afraid to bring that into schools because of the violence? Or what do you tell people? I'm sure you talk to people all the time, about that, like, oh, my school won't let us have that, or different, maybe your school didn't let you have it. So what would be, in your professional opinion, how to address that obstacle?
Yeah, so something I've always tried to explain to people is whenever you're playing these games such as CSGO or Call of Duty, any game that's an FPS, I always look at it as you're not playing because there's guns in it typically, I would say. It's more of when I'm playing, I don't notice that I have a gun in my hands. It's how do I get to the objective and how do I take it? I could be holding a snowball in my hand. I could be holding whatever. It's really about how do I get to that objective? How do I take that objective? And as a team, how can we work together to minimize any loss that we have from that round? In Counter-Strike,
Yeah.
you lose money if you die or you don't get to the objective or complete the objective. So how do I minimize that and make sure that the least amount of us actually go um, and actually complete the objective?
So what are the objectives for that game? Because again, I don't know, and for some of our listeners, they may not know.
Yeah, so I guess for Counter-Strike, it's a bomb defusal or bomb planting. And then for Call of Duty, there's quite a few different ones, but there's, capture the flag. There's, you go and capture a point that constantly moves around the map, so you have to, follow that. Um, and then there's just one where you pick up dog tags after you eliminate someone.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a little bit further. I heard this too, so I want to know if this is true. But for schools that might be concerned, like, isn't there a way that you can kind of turn off some of the graphics so it doesn't seem as violent? Is that in that game, or is that something I heard that's not true? Or, and then if you are eliminated, like, because when I'm watching it, again, I don't understand it. So forgive me if I'm not sounding, but I know people have these questions. So if I'm playing it and I'm eliminated, is it like, Miss Pac-Man, which is all I know, and you get another life? Like, do you come back? Like, help me understand that piece. And
Yeah, so I would say there's two different types of games in that
okay.
sense. There's Counter-Strike where you wait till the round ends, which might be, total of 3 minutes for the round. And then something like Call of Duty, for most of the modes, you come back and then you're immediately going back to the objective and working with your team.
Thank you.
I come back a lot in that game because I'm eliminated a lot in that game. I'm terrible at Call of Duty. Like, it's horrible for me. So I get to respawn. They call that respawning. So yeah,
It's
Yeah.
I
called
respawn a
responding.
lot. Respawn.
Yep.
So like spawn.
That's
See?
where the company name comes from.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah, respawn
Learning
is
so much.
so that when you're, instead of being reborn, you're respawn and you're in a different spot. And depending on where the control point is you might respawn in a different spot because you may not control the area where you respawned before. So, yeah.
Well, I just thank you for that, because I think those are two really important points as far as, it's just like, it's the objective. It's not about, it's like you said, you could use a snowball. It's not about that. It's the objective. And then, you can use appropriate, wording and to make that happen. But obviously it's given you a lot of good skill sets because it's gotten you to where you are today. So I appreciate that. Thanks for humoring on that. But I know there could be listeners that don't understand. So
no, that's I think those are great questions.
Yeah.
Do you find, I'm going to go back to some gaming type questions here. Do you find most skills are transferable between games, Beau? Because I used to think all games were the same, but I'm quickly realizing they're not. But have you found the most skills are transferable between different styles and genres of games?
Yeah, I mean, for sure for me and in my experience at least, for example, in FPS games, one of the things is your aim sensitivity, which is essentially how fast you're looking around on the screen. So in most FPS games, there's that slider. So in every game, I'm setting up the slider to make sure it's exactly the same as where I know so like CS:GO. So I try to set it all the way back, make sure it's the same. But even from there, I mean, developers are really smart with context clues typically. So you can kind of just guess with like what most things mean. If you see a ball in your inventory, if it's an FPS game, it's probably something like a grenade. If you see someone like in your menu, like a person going through the door, it's probably meaning an exit, even if it's not, said exit. So I really think that games kind of help you see these different contextual clues, even in real life, of learning. Like this is actually this is what it means more than likely. I've learned a lot through just playing games. You can guess what most things do if you play enough games.
I had, when I was a social studies teacher, it cracked me up one time because I had a young man win the geography bee one year purely because of his playing of Call of Duty. I think it was Call of Duty. And so like he knew all the different geographical regions of, I don't know if it was which game it was, but he was able to name rivers and mountain ranges in Europe because he said of his Call of Duty, because the game was so accurate to what it was actually doing that he knew these different rivers and mountain ranges. And the kid's like, that's all because you play video games. I was like, I didn't even realize at the time. I do now, but I didn't realize at the time that most games try to keep things as historically accurate as possible. And I don't think it was like that before, but it very much, because when I was a kid, I don't feel like it was like that at all. But it sure seems like modern games are trying to keep things as accurate as possible.
Yeah, I mean, even developers go out now and they take pictures of, I mean, just like a movie,
wow.
they go out and they take pictures of everything around them,
That's cool.
going out to like New York City or whatever, taking pictures of all the buildings. And even in some cases, I've seen 3D like LiDAR, which is like a laser that goes around and
Wow.
scans all around them. And they can actually take that and put it into the game or use it so the modelers can actually base what they're doing off of real life.
So I'm curious, as a former social studies teacher, and I absolutely loved teaching government and world geography. So are there any games that you can think of? Because somebody had said one time that a kid won a world geography B because he played a certain game and he knew where everything was. Do you have any ideas of what games those might be? I'm just curious from a social studies perspective.
So more than likely what I'm thinking is probably a Battlefield game, as that is a very historic series. Or a game called Assassin's Creed, which is also very historically accurate in its environment. They go to great detail in both those game series.
See, I think I want to try some of those. I think those are the ones that I might really get into, just from what I'm interested in,
Well, I mean, just to add to that, I mean, I like Civilization. I learned a ton about history and everything from Civilization. And then I used to play back in the day Romance of the Three Kingdoms and all these different, they were made by Koei, which is a Japanese company, but tons about China and Japan and everything. I know where stuff is in China that I don't even know why. I just do because of that game, because I played it. So And Japan, I know a lot about Japan just because of that game, just because you learn about all the different characters and the different families and clans that were in those games. And so yeah, I always say I learned more from video games about history than I did in any classroom, just because that's where I
Yeah.
learned. That's where I, like Beau, I was visual, and once you get me into the game, I start to absorb all the information.
Yeah. And then you want to persevere, so you learn more and more and more. It's no different than, how kids can get on YouTube and learn anything they want.
True.
So good. These are fascinating. I love it. I can't wait.
Beau, how old are you? You can be. I think this will be enlightening to some of our listeners, because you sound much older, I will say, than you really are. I mean, just your maturity and your experience through all this. I mean, go ahead and share with us how old you are, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I turned 22 this year, a few months ago.
A few months ago.
A few months ago.
And you're running a tournament community for the largest esports league in the country.
Yep, I believe so far this year, like over 300 tournaments that I can think of off the top of my head that we've run as a team. So yeah. I mean, it's
amazing.
I never would have thought that I'd be here, but I mean, it's all the time of just putting in the work and trying to be part of the community that really got me here.
And you're killing it.
Okay, one more. Okay, I have a real quick story, and then I want you to tell us. I know the answer to this, but I think a lot of people will find this to be quite funny. What was your first amount of pay you were given by HSEL when you started working for them? So how did your salary start?
So salary was not a thing when I started, but about 6 months or maybe even a year, I don't even remember at this point, I started getting about $20 every week or every other week. And then about and then it was about $60, and then I was like, I'm going to college now because I was going to be EMT, so they gave me $150 a week. And then eventually I got up to an actual salary that I could actually move down here with. But yeah, it was just, I mean, it's a free game every week or every other week.
The money didn't motivate you. And we always say kids would be so motivated by money in school, or that's why they work. So what motivated you to take that kind of pay?
I mean, it definitely wasn't the money. If it was about that, I wouldn't have been here.
Yeah.
But
it's like an internship.
Exactly. Yeah. For me, I think it was really, I saw the impact that we were having on kids. I saw teachers in my school asking me more and more about what I was doing. Unfortunately, they never were able to get another club together after I left, as far as I know. But I really saw, talking to teachers, talking to students. I've talked to students through Discord and their darkest times, trying to talk to them. They have someone to talk to. I don't know. It was just really the community that kind of kept me going with everyone.
Oh my gosh, I love that. You were there for that.
You are a living example, Beau, of what we're trying to help other schools and communities realize. Like, you truly are. And so I hope we can really get parents and schools to listen to this, because and just to see what you've turned yourself into. And it's not without hard work. I mean, you've absolutely busted your tail to get where you are with it. But you are the living example of what esports can be for kids and what it can turn into for them. So excited to have you, man. Appreciate the conversation.
Yeah. Mason was probably paying you out of his tip money from pizzas when he was giving you $20 a week, would be my guess. And then
yeah, they were fully paying me out of pocket. I'm pretty sure that I got money before they even started to pay themselves.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know for a while, but eventually they were. I overheard them talk about it. But yeah, I mean, even a kind of funny story. My laptop that I was working off of was very, very bad and kept crashing. And I didn't have any money to buy a new computer. My family didn't have that kind of money at the time. So Mason, Charlie, and AJ threw in money and bought me a PC and sent it to me. And that was, I think it was only after like a year of knowing them. But yeah, they sent me a PC, peripherals, all this stuff, and I know that was fully out of pocket.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome. That's awesome. And just one more fun fact, and then we'll transition into something super fun that Kristen has together. But Beau created the gaming concepts channel on Discord. That was Beau who made that.
Oh, very cool. We're in the greatness. We're in the presence of greatness.
Yep.
I do want to ask one more question though.
Go for it.
And then we'll go. Beau, what do you see as the future of esports in schools?
Great question.
yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of tough. I view esports becoming more than just a club. That's really my hope is I want kids of all kinds joining these clubs, even if there are bigger. I say bigger than a club, but I don't know what else to call it. But I see esports more than just playing.
Yeah.
There's producers, there's graphic designers, there's so many different jobs even at this company that I don't even know the title of. There's that many. You can do marketing for esports, you can
Yes.
do so many different things. And all of that is just under one thing at the school for esports.
I love it. Thank you for that. We just end our podcast with a fun little question. So if you would just pick a number between 1 and 10, I will
I'll go with 5.
Okay. All
He
right.
didn't take a set. I mean, he was very decisive on
We
that.
knew the number.
He must do that every time there's a decision for 1 and 10. It's always 5.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay. All right. So the question is, I want everybody to tell us, what was the last song you played on your phone, Spotify or Apple Music, whatever you used?
Useless Zevi remix, I guess, by 2 friends.
And what kind of music is that?
It's actually kind of like an upbeat song.
I like it. What kind of music is that? Like what genre?
I'm not great at genre naming. Let me see. Probably like a little bit of a pop and EDM kind of together.
Okay. What's EDM? I don't know.
I believe it stands for electric dance music.
Electronic.
I believe so,
dance
yeah.
music.
Electronic.
Okay. I should know.
We'll get Andrew on for that one, Kristen.
Okay. Yeah. I like it. He's the guru. Okay. I think Alex Herbie should tell us too, the man behind the scenes too. So get ready, Alex. Okay, Trevor, what's yours?
Actually, I just pulled mine up. Jimi Hendrix, Purple Haze.
Wow. Was that a workout moment for you, or was that
just part of my
just
kind of like Beau? I listen to everything from classical to hardcore punk rock, Sabaton. I mean, a little bit of everything. So
I love it. All right, Alex, Mike.
Well, mine was Desert Rose by Sting. Was the last thing I played on my phone. So
okay, that's a great song.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not Sting the wrestler, that's Sting the musician.
Right.
That's
Sting
something
the
I
wrestler's
learned.
my hero.
Right. Yeah.
Now you're gonna get me off track.
I was old when I told kids that I really loved Sting. And they're like, wow, you do? You're kind of cool. And I was like, well, of course I'm cool. I love Sting. And they were like, then I realized we were talking about 2 different Stings.
That does happen on occasion. For me, I would say Nirvana is probably my go-to. That was my back in the day, high school. I was super sad. I was in high school when
Kurt
Cobain happened.
You were black for weeks, Mike.
Man, I was very sad. I will say that. But much like Trevor and Beau, I'm very eclectic. I have stuff all over the place. So I'm
love it.
Yeah, I'm like all of you, and it's so funny because when Nirvana came out, I was pissed. I was a Gen X hair band glam rock. I'm like, what is up with these dirty kiddos? Like, and now I have such an appreciation for them because, I've grown up and understand. I, love Dave Grohl and all of that too. It's a huge Foo Fighters fan as well. I have a big eclectic mix. My last song it's called Going Crazy. And it's by the Goo Goo Dolls, they just had a new album come out called Chaos and Bloom. And I love the title of that album. I am obsessed with the Goo Goo Dolls, if you know me at all. All right. So Beau, tell us where our listeners can
find you on social media?
Yeah, so I'm not really on many social medias, but on Twitter, I am
Yeah.
at HSCLBeau.
Okay. Okay. And I can be found at Kristen Esports on both Twitter and LinkedIn. Trevor, you can be found where?
Goertzen_edu on Twitter and Trevor Goertzen on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Mike?
I am at Russ the Teach on Twitter, and just search me up on LinkedIn. I'll pop right up.
Well, Beau, we loved having you as a guest today. I think you gave us so much great information, and I know that I'm excited. I've gotten to hang out with you a little bit, and I just think you're absolutely wonderful. And just thank you for sharing your time with us today, because your time is valuable. So we appreciate you. All right, until next time, guys.
Till we meet again.
Keep on gaming, right?
That's right.
Yes. Now I'm going to try to play some Modern Warfare